everyone, and welcome to my third and hopefully final segment of my review on Genkaku Picasso. I was going to go through the last chapter with you, but the last chapter is 4 parts long and rather confusing, so I'll just give you a quick summary of it. And if you liked it enough, you'll just have to read the rest of the story for yourself in this 3-part manga. In the final chapter, as I told you last time, Picasso entrusts Sugiura with his secret that he jumps into pictures of people's hearts and helps them fix whatever terrifying, big, or important problem they have, with the help of Chiaki, who is now a miniature angel living in his chest pocket. Now, naturally, Sugiura reacts badly to this, and they have a falling out, from which Picasso runs away, and from which Sugiura runs away, and Picasso is left feeling upset. Picasso goes to the river, where he draws pictures of water and cries about the fact that Sugiura won't be his friend anymore. Again, this seems to be the overall major flaw of Picasso. He's a complaintive, whiny little bitch. Anyway, back to the story. We then see that next day in school, Picasso draws a picture of someone's heart, and he can't figure out whose heart it is. But the dark aura that he drew the picture from slowly closes around him, and suddenly is completely in the dark. He runs away, and the next day in school, Sugiura and the others learn that Picasso never went home. Picasso is missing, and the teacher wonders if anyone knows anything, and asks them to tell him if they do. Sugiura is upset because he feels that apparently Picasso ran away from home or something, or didn't get home because of him, because he didn't react too well to learning that someone went into his heart and saw his innermost, deepest turmoil. Akane, who has at this time realized that Picasso and Sugiura had a falling out and has been trying to fix it, realizes that Sugiura had something to do with Picasso's not coming home. And she confronts Sugiura about it, and Sugiura at this point tells her that Picasso had told him of how he went into the pictures that he drew of people's hearts and tried to fix things. Now, the big problem is that Sugiura feels really upset about the fact that Picasso did this and didn't have any respect for his privacy. And Akane, on the other hand, says that Picasso did help them with problems that would have probably been with them their entire life if he hadn't done anything. And this triggers a change in Sugiura, who then realizes that Akane is right, and that if Picasso hadn't done what he did, Sugiura might well have killed someone, merely to spite his father. And he never would have known that it was all just a big misunderstanding between the two of them, and that it wasn't that the father didn't want him to go to college, but his father simply didn't have the money because he was so deep in his grieving that he let the company go bankrupt. Sugiura and Akane decide to round up all the other people that have been helped by Picasso and go for a big search party. Form a big search party and search for Picasso. So yeah, they split up into groups and go search for the boy, and eventually Akane and Sugiura are the ones to find him. I'll say right now also that Akane, Sugiura, and Picasso is basically what the story focuses on mostly. They are the 3 that are omnipresent in every chapter, and basically, yeah, it comes down to Picasso's friendship with them and making friends with all the people that he helps. So they find Picasso eventually at the site where the accident happened and Chiaki died, and they find him holding the picture, and he's completely unconscious and not moving and not waking up at all. And then Sugiura calls the others, they reconvene, and he explains what Picasso told him. And they all react to it, feeling either very embarrassed or very relieved, and they decide that they should call to Picasso to help him and figure out that he's in his own heart. And while this is all happening, we keep flashing back and forth between that and Picasso, who is first completely in the dark, crying and trying to find a way out, and he finds a chair of light which he opens up, and it turns out to be, well, you'll just have to read the manga on that one. I don't want to spoil that, but he then sees through his little opening the events that were not explained, namely what happened exactly after the accident. Because in the first part of the manga that is never really expressed, only that Chiaki died and Picasso somehow lived. We then see everything that led up to the accident again, and then see the accident happening, and actually see some pretty realistically drawn pictures of a very hurt Picasso and Chiaki. And we actually read that the rescue workers say that Chiaki can't be saved and that they should focus on Picasso, even though Chiaki only just then went into cardiac arrest. And I blame it on a continuity error or something, but it would seem rather odd for, rescue workers to focus on the least hurt person when the most hurt person goes into cardiac arrest for the first time. We then get a lot of switching back and forth between the scenes as Picasso denies that Chiaki is dead and doesn't want to remember and is trying to block it all out, and his friends who are trying to get him to wake up. Until eventually, near the end, Chiaki, in angel form, calls Picasso to come back out of his hidey hole and accept the fact that she has died. Picasso, to the end, keeps denying this until and refuses to leave Chiaki until Chiaki becomes very mean and says hurtful things to him just to get him to take the hand of Sugiura that is reaching up out of the sky, apparently, and help him recover. And I can tell you now, when I read the ending, and I've read this series twice, I could not stop crying at the parts where Chiaki is trying to convince him to let her go, and Picasso is trying not to let her go. And yeah, basically I could not keep it dry, and I dare you to read it and not wipe away at least one small tear or feel at least a little bit sad for Picasso. So yeah, it ends with Picasso waking back up and everyone being there, and Sugiura apologizes and everyone explains how happy they are that he is there. And the final pages are actually a very happy picture of how everyone that Sugiura helped, that Picasso helped, is now part of the Riverside Club. And while Picasso acts like he finds it annoying that they are there and that they should be quiet because the point of the club is to calm down and draw pictures of water, while the others make fun of him again, but this time good-naturedly. And Picasso then in the narrative explains that he can't see people's hearts anymore, but now he can hang out with everyone. Some things are just as important as improving my art skills, and it ends on a very, 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 to me, very sad and really sweet note where we see Picasso drawing the river and sitting there and saying thank you to Chiaki. Overall, I think it's a must-like type of manga, and it combines slice of life with a little magic twist here. I rather enjoyed it. It's a not so well known series actually. From what I've been able to find, it's published by Fizz Media in probably America and here in Holland. And in Japan it was... I'm not sure, does Shonen Jump actually publish manga? I thought Shonen Jump was the magazine. At least it was published in the Shonen Jump magazine because it is said there. And personally, I rate this series out of 5. I rated a 3.5. It's confusing at times. It switches back and forth a lot at the ending, which is even more confusing. It's a 3-part when it could easily have been a 4-part. I would have loved there to be more, but in this case I think the artist is actually right and less, and it's better as it is now. What I do like is that the art is just amazing. The artist has a real eye for for attention. Perhaps he or she was in detention as well, but yeah, I don't know, so we'll not go there. Sorry, this is live, so it will be in the video. Anyway, even in the most simple of screens in this picture, or however you call this, the simplest parts of this manga, the artist put a lot of detail, and I rather liked it because of that. Even something as simple as just a facial shot shows so much and yet so little at the same time, and the attention for detail, especially on the rotting arm, is disturbingly well. And even the food that Sugiura is cooking can actually be identified as stir-fried rice with vegetable and chicken. And I find myself amazed that in a manga I can identify food, which usually, if it's just a minor thing and not really important, isn't really all that detailed. Yeah, downsides for the manga are probably that you have to like the kind of topics that are discussed in here, or rather, you have to know the topics and not be offended by them. Also, you have to really like the high school fantasies, or this won't be much to your liking. But I think pretty much anyone who reads this, and I am saying anyone and everyone who reads this, will find that they can identify with either Picasso or one of his many new friends. Personally, I find that I identify mostly with Picasso, seeing as I was picked on in school as well, and I can be passionate about the things I like to a fault. I will admit that, and I tend to pull away from people more than I tend to go toward them, due to my past in a large part. But yeah, so I can really identify with Picasso as a character, and I think that's why I could really identify to the fact that his heart is filled with darkness and sadness over Chiaki leaving, and I can understand why he wouldn't want to accept that, because she's his best and only friend. And so yeah, it's there is one part available. The first volume is available on Manga Fox, I know, but the other two are not available. I bought mine at Arconia.com, and I do believe that they have a fairly wide shipping rate. And I think you can also find the volumes on things like Amazon or eBay, stuff like that. this is where I will leave you on this review, so like it. If you like the manga, buy it. If you don't like it, well, no hard feelings. It's just your choice. So, later.